I was supposed to be a telecom engineer, and I was also pretty good at it, or that's what everybody said. But then, just as I was about to graduate, the pandemic hit, and everything came to a screeching halt. And I found myself alone in a room with my thoughts, mm, and that might have not been a good idea. You see, looking inside yourself sounds peaceful, right? It sounds like candles and yoga and gentle self-discovery. It's not that. If anything, it's more like war and disease and bloodshed and gore. I was afraid that if I looked too closely, I might touch something and snap. That fear was real. But then I thought about that, and there was this sense of pain. And so I looked, and I started to notice things like I liked to insult myself. But that's fine, it's human, but it's something I did not know that I did. I was petty, I was sometimes jealous of people that I didn't even like. And then it got weirder. I noticed all these contradictions within me that I could be fearful of maybe like other people, and at the same time, I enjoyed the company of other people, or that I valued peace, but at the same time I was prepared to go to war anytime. There are all these contradictions happening simultaneously. That image of me as a smart, composed, figured out person started cracking. Not shattering dramatically, but gradually cracking. That was uncomfortable, but it was also the most useful thing that has ever happened to me. Because once you open your eyes to what's happening inside of you, that eye never closes. Once you can see what's happening inside you, then it stops running your life. And once I started looking, I couldn't stop. And the longer I looked, the more I found, and the stranger things became. I started seeing patterns like a tendency to wait, a background belief that something was coming to resolve my discomfort or my situation, that rescue was on its way. There was also this intense dynamic whereby you think that you can save the world, that you will save the world, but also on the other hand, they believe that someone will come and save you. There's also some wanting closeness with other people, but then also avoiding closeness with other people. Basically, the closer I looked, the stranger it got. And then on top of that, there were these millions and millions of questions. Not the small questions, big questions. What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning of life? Why should you experience suffering at all? And who do you blame suffering for? Is it your parents for bringing you back to earth, or God for creating you, or evolution for bringing you some, or is life worth living? Who determines whether something is good or bad? Are some people better than other people? Die, and what happens when you die? And does the answer to that change how we should live? But these aren't questions that I learned in a philosophy class. They were questions that came from within me and sort of demanded for answers. And here's the thing about questions like that, at least for me, they didn't just remain there. No, they were actually bothering me, and they were asking to be resolved. And I think the answers to them changed me. I think that underneath the thoughts and questions, I found me. Beneath the waiting, the fear, the contradictions, all of it, beneath it was myself. And before the pandemic, I have to be honest with this, I can say that I had no idea that any of this was there. I started to ask myself this question: what is something I'd regret if I died? What is something that I'd regret? What would I regret on my deathbed? And I started with it for a few weeks. And then at the end, I came to the realization that there was nothing, basically. You don't carry anything to the afterlife, technically, so what's the point of regretting? But something came close. I thought that how you experience life is really important, and lessening the pain of existence is a big thing to me. And I'd thought I'd I'd vowed that if I ever find a solution to feeling of pain and having all those questions and negative emotions and the questions, then I'd like to share that with other people. And I haven't figured everything out. Hell, I'm still finding live wires in the panel, but I think that I'm similar to other people and I am different. And I believe sharing this is one of the most meaningful things I can do with my life. And if my experiences are anything similar to your experiences, then maybe talking about it saves you time, or at least makes you feel less insane. Here's what I keep coming back to. The human mind is the most sophisticated machine that has ever existed. Yet, nobody ever gives you a manual for how you're going to deal with it when you have negative thoughts and negative emotions. You just handed this extraordinarily powerful machine and then you're wished good luck. These questions that I had about purpose, the questions I had about purpose and meaning and about what's happening inside of you, they should be the first things that one is ever taught, if anything. And that's what this is, a simple attempt at a manual from someone who is still reading it.